educators have many different definitions of formative assessment, so it can get confusing. To complicate things even more, there are many misconceptions about formative assessment. In this course, one of our goals is to cut through the confusion and sort out the misconceptions so you can choose wisely when it comes to maximizing instruction to increase student achievement. Oftentimes, formative assessment is perceived as just one more thing that educators must do, something to add to the never-ending to-do list. Formative assessment gets this bad reputation when it's mistakenly understood as yet another test or event to squeeze in. However, formative assessment is not a one-time event. It's a process embedded into everyday instruction to give educators and students information needed to understand what comes next in the learning. So maybe you didn't buy into the misconception about formative assessment being a one-time event. Maybe it's already second nature to you, that it's a process embedded into daily instructional practice. But did you know that there is an emotional component to formative assessment? Did you know that formative assessment also plays a role in keeping the students believing in themselves and builds confidence? Yes, it does. Not only is effective formative assessment about getting the educator more information to make better instructional decisions, it also keeps students believing that success is possible. The formative assessment process is most effective when used in the instructional context for three things: to keep students understanding the achievement target they're working toward, to help them understand where they are relative to the achievement target, and to help students understand how to close the gap between where they are and where they want to be. What do these things have in common? Yep, you guessed it, students. It is really more than just a tool for the educator. Another common misconception about the formative assessment process is that computer adaptive or technology-enhanced instruction automatically equates to formative assessment. Although these tools are able to identify where a student is relative to the learning target, the formative assessment process also includes knowing the target toward which they are aiming and information on how to close the gap. It's like that game of hot and cold where someone tells you that you're getting warmer as you get closer to a hidden object that you're supposed to find, or colder when you're moving farther away. That information isn't very helpful if you have no clue what you're looking for. Another key point about formative assessment is that it's about what you do with the data, not just getting the data. If you get the ingredients for a recipe and set them on the counter, the recipe is not going to make itself. Just as the success of the chef in creating a tasty dish depends on the recipe and what he does with it, the teacher must select the appropriate data and use it correctly to inform her practice to create success in the classroom. Now you've heard what makes formative assessment effective, and you've heard some common misconceptions. But what's a nice, concise definition that you can use to impress people at a party? Okay, maybe not at a party, but one you can use when talking to your colleagues. The Michigan Department of Education supports the Council of Chief State School Officers' definition of formative assessment. Formative assessment is a process used by educators and students during instruction that provides feedback to adjust ongoing teaching and learning to improve students' achievement of intended instructional outcomes. Want to make a huge difference in student achievement? Want to wow your students and their parents with their success? Own this definition and make formative assessment the mantra in your classroom. And of course, continue on in this course for some tips and tools on how to implement the formative assessment process. Now that you can see the advantages to implementing the formative assessment process, how do you do it? To help you implement the formative assessment process, the Michigan Department of Education has adopted 7 strategies. These strategies include self-assessment, peer assessment, goal setting, activating prior knowledge, transferring learning beyond the classroom, feedback, and questioning. The rest of the course will provide information about these strategies as well as a few technology tools that are used in the field to implement the various strategies. Go get a beverage and a snack, and we'll see you back for the next section.